this is the name of the session as we see it. Okay. It's basics about a LinkedIn profile. Okay. That's what we will be discussing. And in this session, the image that you see on the right hand side, that is the logo of LinkedIn. And the objectives of this session is introduction of LinkedIn, and why create a LinkedIn profile, tips on creating a great LinkedIn profile, and how to use LinkedIn for personal growth. Uh, Besides that, if there is anything else that you're hoping to learn, please put that in the chat box, and I would gladly, happily read your query out and answer it during the session. So with that, moving ahead, I just wanted to know as to have you created your LinkedIn profile? Okay. The answer it could come in the chat box through a yes or a no, and I would come to know about it. Yes, and at the same time, your answer would help me in designing the in the content, in the flow of the content for this session, and I guide you accordingly. So with that, moving ahead, just a little bit of a what and how of LinkedIn. Okay. Before we do anything, we at least have to have the basic information as to what we are doing and how do we go about that. The first thing is that we can access LinkedIn from a desktop, from a mobile application. A mobile web experience means, an internet-ready device that is there without downloading the application, or the Android mobile Lite app. Okay. There are many ways through which we can access it. And now, what is LinkedIn? LinkedIn is the world's largest professional network on the internet. It is more designed for exchange of professional information. So that's why it is called as the world's largest professional network on the internet. Okay. And besides that, we use this to connect and strengthen professional relationships, be it be it related to our profession or be it related to our business. So this platform is for both purposes there. And what we can do here is we can also organize offline events. We can join groups. We can write articles, post photos and videos, and a lot of other things that we can do on this platform. The best thing is that it's a great platform for small business owners, okay, students, as well as job seekers. And not to mention, besides that, since it's a professional platform, even though we might have retired from active service, but to get the insights of our profession or of the work that we had been doing, this is a great platform for information and insights also. Now, how do we get started on LinkedIn? Okay. Getting started is very easy. Okay. The first thing is that the basic profile is free. Okay. We don't have to pay anything, and there is no monetary involvement. So what we do, we create a profile to showcase professional life, okay, what we have been doing, any kind of milestones that we have achieved, okay, be it in by the way of rewards, be it by the way of any promotions or anything of that sort, any milestone in the professional life. Skills, professional life, the platform does not, one of the ways that we use this platform to our advantage is that We showcase our skills and interests also. Okay. It is not necessary that these skills and interests relate to our professional life. Okay. For example, for example, okay, there could be a teacher who has spent a majority of their professional life in teaching students, but at the same time they are that particular individual is a skilled musician also, and they have interests in say a cinematography. So professional life could be a different section there. As far as skills, it could be a different section there. Interests could be a different section there, all displayed on this particular platform. Okay. In the profile. Now, that is why we call it a profile. And the profile as such, while referring to the word profile, it would be appropriate to differentiate between a profile and a CV. Okay. And now, in a CV, we chronologically refer to our track record of our professional work that we have done, or certain milestones that we might have achieved during the professional life itself, during our professional work. But here, okay, when we create a profile, we showcase everything. Uh, so this is the major difference, when we create a profile on LinkedIn. Besides that, as a first step, when we log in, when we sign in and we create our profile, we start building our network. Okay. We start building our network by adding any family members who are there on the platform, any of our friends who are there, social friends who are there on the platform, classmates, batchmates, those whom we studied with, co-workers. Right? Now, based on what most of these social media platforms, they use a lot of artificial intelligence. Right? When we connect with these individuals, based on our selection of creating the network, they also refer others also. Okay, and that's how we start building our network there. Initial stages, we have to kind of get started by adding any individual whom we know who's there on the platform. Besides that, what we can do is we follow people. There are influencers also. I mean, something similar to influencers. All most of the celebrities in the corporate sector or in the business sector, they are here. Uh, they have their profile. We can follow them. Okay. Companies also, because most of the corporates, they are also here. Or even smaller businesses, they are here. And topics. Topics in the sense trending topics are there. We can follow that, or anything topics could relate to from the professional life, as well as any skills we have or any interests that we have. Besides that, we can research companies, and for example, any individual who has the experience, okay, and is looking out for any kind of a consultancy jobs, okay, or a consultancy work there, then we can research on companies, and at the same time we can reach out to their officers or their technocrats or their hiring community, the people who the section which deals with the contracting part. Besides that, what we can do is one of the good ways of getting started in LinkedIn is that we participate in conversations. Right? Any individual who has posted an article or has started a thread, we can reply to that. We can share our insights on that. And in by doing so, we would be sharing our perspective, with on that particular, issue or on that topic. By doing so, what we would also be doing is we would be empowering the professional circle. Okay, it could be the professional circle or any of the skill circles or interest circles that we follow with our ideas and thoughts. Okay. And now, coming over to to some of the best practices. Questions, like I said, could come in at any time. You could put that in the chat box, and I would read that out and answer it. Now, coming over to best practices for posts. Okay. This is we can post on LinkedIn. So, if you were to write a post, what is the best practice for that? Right? And these are a few tips that we need to know. Number one, content is king. There is absolutely no doubt about that. Okay. The material or the text that we create should be rich in content. Right? Because when it is rich in content, then only would people kind of interact with us, or as they call it, engage with us by submitting their responses. Subsequent to that, consistency. First is content, then gets to consistency. Consistency in the sense that we post regularly. Right? If we are regular in the sense that there I have seen many individuals say they have come up with they have drawn a schedule that every week they were going to put up something there on the platform. Okay. So there comes in a consistency. We okay. Thanks, Liz, for your message. Really appreciate that. So we need to be consistent about that, about our posting, the frequency of our posting there. Thirdly, conversations. Okay, looking at conversations in the sense that when we have posted a content, conversation works two ways. Okay. Two ways in the sense that we can reply on others' content also, and at the same time, when individuals reply to our content, we engage with them. That is also a conversation. So it's a two-way process. Besides that, what we can do is in order to generate more response from any content, what we do is we use the word at the rate and mention. At the rate, say for example, if I am responding to a post, and one of my colleagues is also would be interested in the post, but has not yet seen that. So what I would do after writing my comment, I would also include in that comment at the rate so and so, that individual, so that he gets also notified, he or she gets notified, and then they also read that article and kind of respond to it. That's what at the rate mention means. So what we are doing is we are engaging others, or inviting others to kind of respond to that. Right? Next, one of the common things in social media, and it is very common it works very effectively in LinkedIn also, is the use of hashtags. Right? What has happened over a period of time is that the search, the search has graduated from a normal keyword search to hashtags. We can also search using hashtags. So if we use hashtags, what hashtags do is push our content to unknown, to unknown, or rather, not connected individuals who are searching by hashtag. Okay. So we use appropriate hashtags also while writing a post. And then on the post, along with the food post, we can add photos or videos. Add appropriate good quality photos and videos to the post. A picture tells 1,000 words. So if the picture is good, it in its own self amplifies the effect of the post. Okay. Now, besides posts, we can also write articles here. A great way of, to share insights, perspective, and expertise. We have all the experience. We can write articles. There's no stopping that. And through these articles, we share insights, perspectives, and expertise. Some of the ideas to start writing an article. In order to write an article, just ask yourself a couple of things. Okay. For example, if it's about an industry, what will or should the industry look like 5 to 15 years later? And how will it get there? Some kind of projections, of where we are, some kind of comparison, what methods should be taken, things like that. Like, what important trends are there? If we are from an industry, definitely we have been following. So, what are the important trends that people should know about? Like, subsequently, some of the challenges, because this is a professional platform, and there are professionals here. So, if we have faced any challenges, we can write about that. And once we write about that, any individual who has overcome that challenge would respond to it if they read the article. Right? And if there have been opportunities which we have used very successfully, any of the opportunities, that are there, we should write about that because it empowers others also. People might be struggling there. And if we share our expertise, they would also benefit from that. Secondly, besides that, some of the common things, that any kind of a problem that the industry needs to solve. This is, I can tell you something, some of these questions I have read innumerable articles about. Like, for example, after this pandemic broke out, just to give you a little bit of a background, I come from the events industry, managing, organizing conferences or and exhibitions. Both of these require people, presence of individuals. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, what happened that nobody would come out of the house. Social distancing was imposed, which made it nearly impossible to host events, and that particular sector was frozen. Okay. Nobody could do that. Even now, we are struggling. But then, although the other sectors were supported by certain government policies, ours was not. And now that was the biggest challenge there. So people started expressing their views on LinkedIn. And I've read a host of articles on that. Besides that, what advice would you give someone hoping to enter the field? Like nurturing talent, there is talent there. They wish to come into the industry, but they wouldn't, take that, as we call it, that first baby step because of, it could be any reason. But then when they, when you kind of become their mentor, when you become their mentor and you start giving them advice, they would take that first step and look up to you, look up to the individual. So any kind of an advice which would be appropriate for newcomers, you know, write an article on that. It's a great way. Right? So with that, I will stop share screen here and now share screen from my LinkedIn account, which is from the computer. Okay. So just give me a moment while I get my tab right. And questions, like I said, if any, you can always ask me, by putting them up on the in the chat box. So just give me a moment while I get my tab right, and then continue sharing screen. Okay. So just give me a moment there, and in the meanwhile, a very warm welcome to Ritu Sharma ji and Vinita Jain ji to the session. So here we go, and here I am.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, good evening. How are you doing, Vinita ji?
Fine, sir, fine.
Good to know that. Okay, so now this, as you see, is my LinkedIn profile. Okay, and from this profile, okay, on this profile, if you see, if you see my picture images there on the main page itself, on the main page, this is the feed that comes. Okay. And this particular feed is based on any kind of on any of the posts that have been made by my connections. Okay. So their feed comes in here. Okay. And besides that, anything, like MIT Technology Review. Okay. This is again a promoted content, means it is a paid kind of a thing, and that is here. Okay. And the rest of them, like all these individuals, they are my connections, and they have written. Besides that, when I had shared from there, okay, from the slide deck, that we can follow organizations also, companies. Now, World Economic Forum is a great organization. If you see below that, they have some, a fantastic number of followers there. So once you start following them, information, whatever they post, comes into your feed there. Okay. And we can, that is what gives us that is what gives us information, and increases our intelligence also. Okay. Now, besides that, on this page itself, one of the things about LinkedIn, now this is my homepage. Okay. Whenever we create any kind of a page, okay, or use any kind of a software, okay, we should always, try and see if there are any kind of settings that are there. Okay. Just to let you know, LinkedIn also has settings. Okay. And where do we get to those settings? From the top, where the navigation tab is, there is a profile picture of me also, where it's written me. It's home right now. Next to that is my network, then jobs, messaging, notifications, and by that side is me, and there's a drop down. When we click into that, it takes us into my profile. Okay. First things first, your profile. Click on, now when you create a profile, there are certain things that you need to be aware of. Okay. In the sense that the first thing, of course, the image that you see, that is an image which goes up, just like in all social media, say Facebook or Instagram also, anywhere that we comment, this picture will go. Right? One of the things about this picture, especially, we click a lot of pictures, no doubt about that, but not to post just any random picture of yours. This is more of what we call it a professional network. Right? So, I mean, any kind of a party image or any kind of, those kind of images are a big no-no here. Right? So that is the profile image. And at the same time, the one that at the background, that is also an image that we can change. This image, the one at the background there, should also technically correspond with any professional activity that we want to show. Either, if we are, say, receiving an award, or somewhere, or presenting at a conference, or, doing anything, any kind of a voluntary work, those kind of things. Not pictures. Although there is no written or no set rules about that, but not pictures of vacationing and those kind of things, until and unless we are an ardent traveler, and our profession in its own self entails a lot of travel, and we wish to kind of go about. The best thing is that anything that we update here, okay, anything that we update is editable at all times. Right? If I click on any of the now the first section, okay, profile section. If I click on this pen here, I just click on this, and it goes off into into the edit mode. And we can edit everything. One of the things here, as we write these things, anywhere there where there is a star, that is a mandatory. Okay. And so we got to write those things there. I mean, we cannot create a profile without writing, writing any kind of a name, okay, or what is the headline. Now, coming to the headline, okay, as far as a headline is concerned, it works just like the headline of a newspaper. We see those headlines and then decide as to whether we have to go ahead or not. Like, same way, this is the headline. So craft it. Use some, what we call it. Use some good words there which describe, right? And post that any kind of a position that you wish to add. Okay. There are, we need to write those positions there. And industry, education, we can keep on adding. And location, of course, a city. And besides that, there is a lot of other information also that if we wish to add any kind of a website or more, we can do that. More the information, better it is. A complete profile attracts much more, what we call it, much more network than an incomplete profile. Because if the profile is incomplete, nobody would want to connect. Right? So besides that, there are options. If I'm a consultant, if I'm open for work, we can put up these kind of things there. Right? The next thing, that is there within the profile. Okay. If I go into, if I go further down, you see, we have all these sections, about. So what is it that you wish to write? And Then, besides that, okay, the experience in a CV. Okay, now here is the difference there. When we are looking at experience is something which comes off straight from the CV. Okay, and when we are writing our experience, please think of a LinkedIn profile as a kind of a story that you tell. Uh, when we kind of tell a story, it needs to connect, from one section to the other, to the third, to the fourth, and so on and so forth. Then only is the profile, it seems complete. Uh, Even though, we might have our professional experience might not be, say, in one industry. It could be in two or three industries. Like, for example, I would let you know, just to let you know, first 20 years of my life, of my professional life, I was in the engineering industry. Next, about 2, 3 years, I dabbled into various things. And then again, the last 20 years, 25 years, I've been in the events industry. So it doesn't mean that, the first 20 years, I don't list it here. No, I list it here. And yes, based on that, any individual, when they see, for example, if we are looking at the experience, within the experiences, write out all the experiences that are there. And within each experience, write the name of, now, for example, the experiences that are there. If I have done something great, if I have completed a project, I would want to mention it here. Okay. And whatever we did, in that particular section or on that particular area, we do that here. Okay. And mind you, these are all editable. Okay. It's not that they are not editable. We can edit them at any time. Now, after the experience, if you look at it, after the experience, when we go further down, okay, when we go further down, licenses and certifications. Okay, of course, education is there. We list out all the education that is there. Licenses and certifications. Each time we obtain any kind of a certificate, please mention that, because that certificate certifies your skills. Okay. It's not necessary that, that only an educational degree certifies my skills. An educational degree will certify my education. But for skills, I can take up, say, for example, if I take up a Python course, I would put that here. So any kind of certification that you have, just please put that. Right? It helps a lot. Individuals think that, it's a small thing. I just did a 7 days course and that's it. As long as it has resulted in a certificate, please put that up. Licenses for sure. Now, besides that, there are skills here. Within skills, there are a host of, when you create your business, for skills, there are skills quizzes also. If you attempt those quizzes and they become right, you could that would also be an asset, because this is your profile. This is not a CV, and these are third-party endorsements. Okay. Third-party endorsements in the sense that it is not just me who's saying that. It is other individuals, and those individuals are also acclaimed. They are also equally, they are of equal or maybe more skills, and they have endorsed. So any kind of endorsements that you get, and for endorsements, we also reach out to people, reach out to our connections. If I have worked in a school, and I have, I've been an English teacher. And in that school also, there was my colleague, uh, 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 and the colleague was a history teacher. I would reach out, tell them, can you endorse me? And there's an option here in LinkedIn that we can request for endorsements also. So when you endorse them, when that colleague, say having another 30 years of experience endorses the fact that I'm also a good, he's also a good teacher, and we work together in such and such a place, it adds value. That's a value add. This is not there in the CV. This will not come in the CV, but it will come in the profile here. Okay. Then, there are any kind of projects that we have undertaken. We can also mention that. Okay. And once we mention these projects, these projects, they add value to the profile itself. Okay. Any kind of languages that we know of, multilinguals are best, and no doubt about that. Whichever language that you wish to whichever wish please put that up. Besides that, any kind of interests or influences that you're following, you know, uh, this in its own self, this particular section, when any individual views your profile, when they view your profile, and if they say, oh, okay, he's following Satya Nadella, uh, indirectly it shows my mind that I am more towards the technology side. Okay. And of course, I would be following all the what you call it, posts that are coming up from here. Okay. Now, this was about the profile section. Okay. Questions, like I said, they can come in at any time, in the chat box, or you can even unmute yourself and ask me. I will answer that. Okay. Now, another thing that is there, within when we create our profile, especially first times, it's not very necessary to complete the profile in one go. But there are two ways of doing it: creating a profile in one go, keeping seeing all the information, and uploading it. Second is uploading information, uploading the information and keeping the profile as hidden. We have the option of that, and that comes over in the settings. When in the search option, where at the top there is the what you call it, the logo, followed by search, home, network, jobs, messaging. Then there is the small profile picture. There is a drop down, right? And from here we go into settings and privacy. Right? When we click on settings and privacy, we get all these, all these details here. Okay. And at the same time, from here, within this, we can change a lot of things. Okay. Change in the sense that everything that is there, all social media sites, they allow the user to customize how they use the data. So we have all this. Okay. And from here, we can change a lot of our settings there. Okay. In the sense that if I go into account preferences on the left hand side, okay, it gives me the profile information. Okay, name, location, industry, display, site preferences, language. Okay. Anything that we need to, any language that we wish to change, we can do that. Any kind of translations that we wish, okay, we can do that. Okay. And at the same time, when we go on into the profile information, okay, if I click on this, if I click on this is my profile information. I can edit it and change it from there. Secondly, when I am onto visibility, that is the element. When we have the visibility, within visibility, we can change. Now my profile is a public profile. If we click on this, if I click on this, I can edit it. Okay. On the right hand side, if you see your profile's public visibility. Okay. If I wish to switch it on, if I make it on, it will, it is on. If I wish to make it off, it gets off. Okay. So we can change whatever is the thing that we have to do. Right? And at the same time, when we go into into the settings again. Okay. When we go into the settings again, okay, it says join to connect and done. Okay. Now from here, within settings itself, one of the other things that is there is, when we go into visibility, and from the visibility, we can see who can see members you follow. But you want to keep them to yourself, or you wish to show it to others. So these settings, please, check on that and make them as per your requirement. Okay. Now, another thing, while into the what we call it, into the home list, is using the search options. Okay. With the search options, if I go back to home, okay, if I go back to home, of course, LinkedIn News comes up here. If we want any kind of options, we can opt for that. Some of their paid services. Okay. And at the same time, there is a search option. If when we go into search option, we can type in anything directly or use the hashtag. Now, for example, if I am looking for any, as I start typing the word, it starts giving me, this is artificial intelligence. It gives me, it gives me the words, the keywords. Okay. I don't want anything of this word. I just write here technology classes. Okay. And I click on see all results. Okay. So they give me, all the individuals that are there. Narendra Jain, Nitin Jain, so on and so forth. So if there are courses, I just put in technology classes. There are courses here at the top. And if I go back, the levels that are there, time to complete, everything is here. Okay. If I go back, if I want companies, I go on to companies, and all these companies, they will come. Locations, we can use a filter whichever place we are looking for. Even the industry, like I just put in technology. So whether it is in education management, higher education, financial services, these are all filters. And company size, we can look for, if we want smaller organizations, we can look for smaller organizations. Now, and then, all the filters will come up here. If we click on that, and we can look for them using plain words. The second way is using, say, hashtags. I click on Shift and I use the type in the pound key, and that is the hashtag. Whenever we use the hashtag, the first is the pound key or this, and I say online. And as I start type, the common kind of the common hashtags that are there, they will come up. I, I just write, say, online class. And now you see this using the hashtag, I have found articles. I have found articles where they have used the hashtag and have come across so many, of now this is a follower, this is an individual. We could follow that also. Okay, if I click on, say, see more, and then we see that okay, we go on to this, and if we see the hashtag, okay, if we see online class, okay. So whoever, now I didn't know him, but as soon as we use the hashtag, we found it. Any organization that you wish to follow or you wish to search for. Okay, now for example, say if I click on Tata's Tata Group. Now it's a company. When we go over into a company, it will come up. Now this is the Tata Group. I can, they have various groups here. We can check on those groups and start following. Or if you need any kind of, now Tata Group, say North America. If I click on that, it gives us all the details that are there. We can follow this. We can find more information. They have a link to their website, so on and so forth. Right? So any kind of information that we need to gather, we can find out that information from LinkedIn using the hashtag itself. Okay. Now, within, when we are looking at a Tata Group, they have all these, now these are all filters here. So if we are looking for just posts, by Tata Group, wherever Tata Groups, in economic times, they had some posts there. In some business standard, they had posts there. So if you are looking for anything, use the search option. And when we use the search option, we can use the search option by using both the text as well as the hashtags there. Another thing that is there, on within the within our page is the ability, okay, is the ability to create further pages. Okay. Now on my page, if you look at the left side, okay, there are this particular page, professional junction, is a page which is there under my page. Okay. So if we have any kind of a side business, we can create another page also. Okay, for that, dedicated only for that. Okay. And that in its own self, we create from here. Okay. We create from here, and from the profile. Okay. Manage posts and activity company. Now this is the page that I have created, and if I click on professional junction, you will see this page is there. And all the details that I have done, whatever I have posted, anything of that sort, will come up here. Okay. And there are analytics also, especially essential for any business that is there. Within analytics, if I go to visitors, it shows me how many people visited my page at what date, what did they do, and so on and so forth. Okay. So if we create a page for professional reasons, we can also monitor their, their activity. Uh, If I look at competitors, if I start putting in their names here, then it will add them. Uh, It will add them, and we can keep track of their performance also using LinkedIn. This is a great feature, and which we should, which we can add, which we can use. Besides that, on this page itself, there are certain admin tools that we have. When we drop that, we can invite connections, sponsor things, and if there are too many people in the organization, we can manage admins. We can also deactivate the page in the sense that it will not come up in searches. Right? And finally, we can delete that also. After deactivating, we can delete that from the. And this page, since I'm an admin, it looks like this. But if I were a member, okay, this is what it would look like. Okay. And you see all the details there, all the directions, and so on and so forth. Everything would be available